Swanton Enhancement annual meeting. It's nice to see a lot of new faces in the room this evening, so welcome. Pastor just wants to take a quick second just to introduce herself, and I first of all would love to say thank you for this beautiful welcoming space that you are allowing us to have our meeting in this evening.
You are very welcome. I have had absolutely nothing to do with this beautiful welcoming space because I've been in Swanton for all of 10 days and physically in the office since Tuesday. So I am brand new, but I heard that you all were meeting here, so I wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Kathleen Shadow. I'm the new rector here at Holy Trinity. My spouse and one of our 20-year-old boys, we have twins, one stayed in Maryland, one came with us, live just over there on York Street. And I just wanted to welcome you to our space. I've met a lot of you because Molly designated herself as the official greeter and just kept pulling people over to meet me. And I appreciate that. Please don't assume that I'm going to remember your name because that's going to take longer because all of you will go home and change clothes. And then I won't be able to say, oh, it's the woman in the purple shirt or the guy in the gray. No. But welcome. I can't stay for the whole meeting, but I just wanted to introduce myself and welcome you to this space. I very much have a preference for our church buildings to be used for community events, for things like this, because we do a disservice to our church buildings if they're empty except on Sundays. And we do a disservice to our communities. So, have a wonderful meeting. I promise that I will join you for another meeting at some point for the whole time. It just isn't today.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
All right. So we're just gonna review our, just do a little meeting stuff, and then we'll get to the fun stuff, okay? And the fun stuff, I mean, we're gonna do the Kilburn Lambert Award, and then we have our guest speaker, Denise Smith is here, and then we'll just go through our community leaders, we'll talk about what's happening in Swanton, all the great things that happen, and that'll be it. So let's get started. So we're just gonna review our meeting minutes from May, and then I'll just need someone to make a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Next second. All approve, say aye.
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 Any discussion? Okay, carried. All right, and Joel has the financial report.
Okay, it's been a while, but unrestricted, the balance in the unrestricted funds is $12,390.96. Wrote 2 checks in August for a total of $420. Restricted funds, there's a balance of $17,921.36. Of that $17,900, $3,800 is committed to the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail project. Wrote 2 checks and recently for approximately $2,100 for the beautification committee. And those have not come out of the balance, because whenever I report the balance, it's always with the last bank statement that I get, and that was through 31 July. I always get the next month's statement about 10 days into the month, so I have not received August yet. Balance by category, bikes and signs, we have $88.95. Capacity building, we still have $1,477.25. Substance misuse, $1,625.61. Beautification, this is before the $2,100, is $10,114.55. Marble Mill, $815. So far, no one has asked for that money for any of the improvements that have taken place down there. And then we have, separate from the balances I gave you, there is a CD for the beautification committee for the $18,000. So that is still out there, and that'll renew shortly. And I'm assuming we probably want to renew it again. because you've got a strong enough balance, I think, to get us through, next year. Any questions on the budget? I have, if anybody wants to see the last statement from People's Trust. And then I have the eye test of, the account for the year, all the deposits and checks we've written, and then the restricted funds, same thing. Each, check that was written is all right here if anyone wants to see it.
Did you write a check for what was it, the bouncy house?
Yes,
Okay.
that was one of the 2 checks in August.
Okay,
It
super,
was the bouncy house, yes.
for the
I have a quick
block party.
For the block party.
And I don't know if anyone knows the answer. When you combine the amounts of money that the organization has, are we close to that?
We are very close to tipping that scale. We are $1,000 or $2,000 below that,
Okay,
50,000.
yeah,
So when you add that 18,000 into the other monies, we are right there,
okay,
yes. So we still send in annually something to the IRS about our status, and right now we're checking the block under 50,000,
okay.
yes.
Okay, okay. Thank
Yep,
you.
no, great question, and
But there's nothing negative with going over that.
no, it's just changes the reporting that we
Yeah.
have to do. Right now, it's, they call it a postcard, you do it online, it's real easy, takes just a couple minutes, and it kicks back and tells you that they've received it.
Yeah,
Just keeps our status with the IRS.
okay. Thank you.
Kirsten?
You said you had $17,000 in restricted funds?
$17,921.36.
And about 6,000 of that is spoken for with the rail trail?
Between the 2 checks and the 3,800, yes.
So what's the balance supposed to be used for? If there's another,
Well, the balance is in those groups that I read off as far as.
those are the 2 funds?
Right.
Okay, within that restricted category, okay.
Good, perfect. All right, so we are gonna move on to the big event.
Well,
And I think Molly,
Molly
I'm
starts it
up.
off.
I'm first. I was designated. I didn't ask for it, but I am so privileged to be able to begin this evening's presentation of the Kilburn-Lambert Community Service Award. And you know what, Sandy and Ron? I believe this might be the first time all 4 of us have been here for the presentation. So I want to thank the Kilburns in particular because they have a lifetime of service to this community, and Hank and I got brought in a few years ago, and it's been a total privilege. But at any rate, let me get on with my narrative. So the Kilburn-Lambert Community Service Award was initiated in 2020. Unbeknownst to the Kilburns and us, this award was created, and the purpose of which it would be honoring people who have dedicated years of service to create a more vibrant Swanton. And I want to certainly recognize that since the Kilburn-Lambert Award was founded, we skipped a year because of COVID, who didn't, and recognize that Joel Clark and Reggie Bellavo, who are here this evening, were the subsequent winners of the award. And so tonight, we have the great honor of presenting the 2024 award to someone who represents what it stands for: years and years of service to create a more vibrant and welcoming community. So I think I think I did it, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, Reggie, you're up.
I don't know why I'm so excited. Last year, what was the word you used? Unbeknownst?
Unbeknownst.
Unbeknownst? I thought it was blindsided for me. But anyway, yeah, last year I was the recipient for this award, and it's an honor for me to be part of this presentation this evening. So tonight's recipient is a lifelong member of the community that raised a successful family and ran his own construction business. He has earned awards for his skilled finish work and attention to detail. He is a member of the local Masonic Lodge and held most positions, including master. In the late 1990s, he saw the deteriorating condition of the downtown and decided to get involved and make a difference. Over the years, his continued focus and dedication has helped bring businesses back into the downtown. He was voted as village president and held the office for the majority of that time until 2024. As village president, he led with honesty, integrity, and demonstrated a strong sense of teamwork and community devotion. He was instrumental in coordinating with Gordon and Debbie Winters on the major revitalization of the Prouty Block and Memorial Building. He had the insight decades ago to save the sign of the Champlain Theater building and gave it back when the building was recently renovated. It now shines brightly over the Green Mountain Bistro, which I've been there quite a few times. Other key accomplishments under his tenure as village president are the current waterline project, the continuing and arduous process of relicensing the hydro dam, and reimagining the old Hotel Rib space and the improvements to our downtown. Hank?
Our recipient made his presence known throughout Swanton. Whether it was representing the village at meetings of the town or Swanton Enhancement Project, or attending events such as the Chamber's annual car show or the annual night out, this candidate made sure to be present, engage community members, and show his genuine concern for Swanton. In an interview early this year, our candidate talked about 3 values he felt he brought to the community: humility, trust, and teamwork. Our candidate exuded those values with family, as a mason, on the construction site, and in his role as village president.
Okay, so I finish this up. And these words are not mine, and I'll explain it here. At our candidate's last village trustee meeting, one trustee said it as good as anyone could. And so I'm going to quote. I remember the day on my porch when I spoke to him about me running for trustee. I told him that I had my doubts about being able to do the job if I was elected. I didn't go to college, and I didn't have a degree. And this is what he said. If you have common sense and a love for your community, which you have, you'll do just fine. He was right, and for that I owe him a debt of gratitude. We had a great team. We were family. He made sure that regardless of the circumstances, we remained family. He was the glue that bound our board together, even though he did not have a vote in any outcome. He was the one who held us together when the art wall fiasco happened. He kept us calm when we were called racist and got calls for our resignation. He kept us calm when some citizens were creating unrest and division within the community. He never backed down from a challenge. He never hid behind a computer screen when things got tough. But most of all, he had our backs, and we had his. He taught me a lot about being a good citizen. As a leader, his guiding principles were humility, trust, and teamwork. The team worked extremely well under these principles. Swanton will be a greater place if these principles are continued. Quite sure you figured it out by now. The 2024 Kilburn Lambert Community Service Award is being presented to Mr. Neil Spear. Come on up, Neil.
Look at your swan. Congratulations.
Reggie had it right, blindsided.
We may have been a little deceptive in getting you here.
My wife asked me if I wanted to go to the set meeting with her, because we're gonna have a distinguished speaker, Denise. So I didn't have a clue, and then when I saw Reg in here, I started wondering, and Gordon. So, but I am completely honored with this. There's no award that I have received, except maybe Builder of the Year, that I would put up against this, because the Kilburns and the Lamberts are staples of our community, and they've been here longer than I have, which is long enough, but I was a little disappointed this town meeting this year, because like Joel and Hank and Reggie said, that we had a good team and we trusted each other, and I see that sliding, not because I'm gone. I mean, I'm not gone, I'm not in the office, but the community is changing a lot, and I'm just hoping the community can stay together like it has in the past, with different challenges. I am very proud, Reg and I are very proud to have teamed up with Gordon Winters to improve our downtown, because back in 1999, when I got on the board originally, I was worried about our downtown, and it only took 25 years, but we're back. And I hope that that continues, because it's very vibrant downtown, more than it has been since the store left, the grocery store, and we still have a great team up at Swanton Village, and the community is a great community. And if anybody needs anything from me, they know where I live for the last 55 years. So I thank you again, and I am humbled and honored to receive this award. Thank you. You too. You stuck up for us too.
So, and also I want to give a little shout out to Nicole Gadwa, who does paint and design our swan every year for our award. And again, congratulations, Neil. I think the award is definitely well deserved, and you have done tremendous amount of work in our community. And he was always beside me when I threw the ducks over the dam, and I never once threw him in with the ducks. So.
Goodbye, Kilburns. See you soon.
Did you want to say no? You're good.
No, I was waiting for Ron.
So now we're gonna move on, and Molly's gonna talk again.
It's fun.
So you're doing well, so keep it up.
Well, this is a particular privilege and delight that we, the executive committee, have in having Denise Smith as our guest speaker at our annual meeting this year. Many of you certainly know Denise. Denise and her husband Tim and 3 children live in St. Albans, and they're very active in that community. But many of you have also worked with her. You've volunteered with her. You've collaborated with her. You've worked out paths forward on thorny things that you never thought there was a path forward to take because you were with Denise. And even if you haven't had the opportunity to work with Denise, If you have not intersected with her in the last 2.5 decades of her service to her community, her state, her region, I bet your lives have been affected by the work that she's done. So the reason we are inviting her here to be with us tonight is that she is the brand new, and you thought Kathleen Shutto was the brand new rector here. Denise started on Tuesday, I believe, with the Vermont Council on Rural Development. And the Vermont Council, for those of you that don't know, was created over 30 years ago. And it has led the way in strengthening communities throughout our state. Denise is the perfect leader at the perfect time for this wonderful organization. They are very lucky to have her. And I'm pretty sure we're probably her first speaking engagement. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, you are.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Well, at any rate, welcome Denise, and thank you for sharing your time with us. Okay.
Do you wanna stand or
I'll
sit?
stand, I'll
Okay.
stand. I'm gonna be a little casual tonight.
Yeah, of course.
But I do have some notes, so, well, one, I wanna just thank Molly for inviting me on my third day in my new job. I'm just very grateful, to be here. I'm grateful for the town of Swanton, the Swanton Enhancement Project. 10 years ago, over a decade, I was in this community, working with Friends of Northern Lake Champlain on supporting the work we were doing on Missisquoi Bay. And I happened to be part of the Swanton Enhancement Project with Paul Costello, who was the former executive director. He retired about a few years ago. And his legacy and the work that VCRD has done for our state, throughout the state, not just in Franklin County, but throughout the state of Vermont, has just been a legacy of doing community visits in over 90 communities, and going through this incredible process. They also have a portfolio of other work that we've been doing, and just I'm learning all about it in the last few days. I feel like my brain right now is so full, so I'm not 100% sure what's going to come out of it. But really excited to be here, really excited and honored to have been invited to speak with you tonight. I'm remembering that community visit in Swanton, and it was held at the Missisquoi at the high school, and we were sitting around in the building, and I remember the energy around the arts that came out of that visit, and that was like the formation of the Swanton Arts Council, which led to the art walls that were a really good idea until, things happened. So, and still a good idea, right? Art is always a great way to express yourself. But I'm remembering that. I'm remembering the beautification committee that came out of that, and the work that went into beginning that process, and the baskets on the bridge and the park and the plantings, and really like these small, achievable, wonderful projects that this community took to move process, or to move Swanton forward. I want to just say that what I'm talking about tonight is the vision for a healthy Vermont, and for healthy Vermont communities, or healthy communities. I think it's something that every community in this time, post-industrial, post-pandemic, are struggling with. We're all in this same place across the country, across Vermont. We have really complex, major issues that are affecting us. We know the substance use disorder issue that's affecting our communities. This sense of lack of gathering, isolation. So especially in rural communities, this isolation that's really taken over people's lives. For the last 8 years, I've been at Northwestern Medical Center And the saddest thing for us is when a patient comes in and they're all alone. They have no support, they have no family, and they're living in a very rural community and have no resources. And trying to figure out how to get them the resources after we send them home and making sure that they have a safe home to go back to has been kind of a project of mine to help support our community members. When I think about a healthy Vermont community or a vision for a healthy Vermont community, and VCRD just released our youth report, youth opportunities report, but that's what I think about. And I think about the work that the Adnaki community is doing with their Circle of Courage and has been doing for years, and how important that work is, and how we need to create opportunities for youth to continually feel appreciated, accepted, valued, and brought into some of our community processes. I'm looking at Crystal, who just has done so much work in this whole community in all of Franklin County with our youth, and Betsy. But like that, to me, is like when I think about healthy Vermont communities, that is where we need to invest time. I think Vermont does a great job with younger kids. I think we really fail and need to do a better job once the preteens and the teens start getting there. I have a new driver in my life, so I have a 17-year-old, and that's really fun. But she's going to Burlington a lot because there's just more stuff to do there. So how are we creating opportunities for kids to do things that are healthy and make them feel included in all of our processes? I think that people, I just want to say one more thing about youth because I think it's just important. We did the Community Health Needs Assessment, which is a project that the hospital has to do every 3 years. And I was privileged to be able to sit in on a focus group with rural youth in Richford a couple of weeks ago. I just have to say that I think that the discouragement that is felt sometimes by the youth, like their adults have given up on them almost, that we've forgotten about them. We've forgotten about what they are seeing and what they're living and what they're experiencing. I just think we just need to work better together to really help address some of those issues. The other thing that I just want to mention, and this goes back to what I just said, but like people being able to get their basic needs met. We know the housing crisis has impacted all of us. St. Albans is seeing a huge increase in people experiencing houselessness. And it is so disheartening. The state hotel program is ending, or has ended, and is not going to be allowing as many people in this year. It's affecting children, it's affecting families. And so that's another thing. How do we make sure people are getting their basic needs? Food insecurity is on the rise. It has been since the pandemic. If you ask any one of our food shelves, John Gorton has all the data from Sheldon Food Shelf, but ask him any day like how they're doing, and he is seeing families from all over this county driving through there, picking up food on a weekly basis. I think that in order to have a healthy community, we have to address the basic needs of the people that live here. I think that one of the things that came out in our 2021 Community Health Needs Assessment is access. And this came out in many different communities, different forums, access to healthcare and services. And some of that access is caused by the rural natures of our communities, specifically transportation. And so people not able to get into the appointments that they need to get to. And also affordability. The cost of everything is going up. Medical care, prescription drugs might be the first thing that you don't purchase because you need to buy food so that you aren't hungry. And so really thinking about how we improve access. We just did our 2024 Community Health Needs Assessment through the hospital. And that is still a huge issue for many Vermonters and many people in our community, is that access to health care. The other thing I'll just mention, we have a hospital right here, a local community hospital. Many people have to travel to Burlington to see specialists or for oncology care. I ran the Jim Bashaw Fund for the last 8 years, and so that's a fund that provides financial resources to people experiencing cancer or catastrophic illness. And I would say 90% of our applications were for people to buy gas so that they could get to their oncology appointments down in Burlington, whether it was radiation or chemo. because you have to go frequently over a period of time. The other thing that I want to talk about a little bit, and I think you mentioned the community is changing. Yeah, the community's changed. All communities are always, change is the only constant, right? And that's something that we just need to recognize. I think that safety and belonging is so important. There's been so much conversation around safety and what that means and how it looks in different communities and with different people. I think that safety and belonging and diversity and acceptance go hand in hand. And really trying to listen to each other and be part of each other's community, no matter what that community is, but to really honor who people are for who they are, and be accepting of who they are. And I know that can be challenging and difficult in so many instances, but I think it's so important for a community to thrive is to have diversity of voices, diversity of perspective, diversity of age, diversity of race. Diversity is just such an important piece. And then I finally just want to end, because I think this is something that Swanton has done. You're doing this, right? It's that community gathering and connectedness. And it is the thing that people like the Lamberts and the Kilburns and Ron and Gordon and Reggie, you're improving the spaces in your community so that people have places to go. We are, if COVID taught us nothing, it taught us that we are social beings and we cannot live in isolation from one another. And we can for a little while. I actually enjoyed not going to a sports thing every single night of the week with my children. I was like, oh, soccer's canceled, I'm so happy. But that lasted for a short amount of time, right? And then I was like, it took me a while to be like, oh, I can go back out and talk to people, right? And I'm pretty much an extrovert. I like my introvert time, but I like being out there. I like being in community, and I still sometimes think I'm not even fully there yet. I can still say no to things, whereas before I always felt like I had to be there. But I think that that's an important thing. We are social animals, we are social beings, and we need each other. And so what Swanton, I think, has done over this last decade is actually create the spaces. You have a bistro downtown, which I might go get a beer with Betsy afterwards. I'm looking at her to see. You have a bistro. I haven't been there yet, but Reggie's gone there a couple times. So maybe you can show me the roads. 3, 4, maybe 4 times. And a bakery. And I remember Paul Brune. I don't know if any of you knew him. I know Molly did. He was the Preservation Trust executive director for years. One of, I think, the dearest people I've ever met in my life. There was the 2 Pauls, Paul Brune and Paul Costello, that helped to shape me. But he said during that Swanton community visit, he said, all communities that have, that succeed, have a coffee shop downtown, have something, have a place for people to come and gather, and a place for people to see each other and connect with one another. And I think Swanton's got more than just one, right? It's got this room, it's got the park, it has so many, and that's such an important thing for a healthy community, for people to be able to see each other, to connect, whether it's at a farmer's market, or at at the coffee shop. Or the last time I was in this room, I came for somebody's yoga class last winter. The Abnaki offered a 5-week free yoga class. I'm like, I'm in, and it was wonderful. I also, I had the good fortune of having lunch with the interim executive director today of VCRD, Charlie Smith, and Jenna Kolowski, who's been the policy and program director, who's leaving VCRD as I enter. So it's been a little like, okay, give me all your information. But I did tell her, I said, I'm going to Swanton tonight to talk about to talk to the enhancement group. And she said what you should say. And so I'm going to tell you what Jenna said, is you should tell them that they've done it. They took that community visit, they took that model, they implemented task force, they created a group, they have money in the bank. Like, you should celebrate this moment right now, a decade of work. I used to joke with people, if I can keep my kids alive till they're 10, I have succeeded as a mother, right? Because that the most, at 10, they can now start doing most of the stuff by themselves. They still need you to like feed them. But if you can keep your kids alive till they're a decade old, I feel like, so you kept this baby alive for 10 years, which to me is just such an incredible feat. Like, you didn't give up. God, there was a pandemic, you guys, in the middle of it, right? And you're probably like, what are we going to do now? I mean, so many things ended during the pandemic, you know, that broke our hearts. But you did this, you kept it together. And I think that shows it's people who care, right? It's people who care to make a difference, people who care to show up. Like, this is what makes a healthy community: caring to make a difference, caring to show up, caring to be and stay connected, I think is the other thing. Like, even like when it's hard, like, and nobody agrees with each other. I mean, I had to reconcile farmers and water people. Like, it's hard work, right? And so really, like, you have to care enough to stay connected, and to continue to stay in relationship with each other, right? Like, that is the key, I think, in all of it, is that you have to care enough to stay in relationship with each other, because it's really easy to give up on relationship. And I just love what you said. Common sense, love for your community is all you need to become a leader in your community. One of the things that happened during COVID at VCRD is the Vermont Community Leadership Network. And it's a platform, it's a Zoom meeting that happens, everybody's invited. Anybody who self-proclaims, I'm a community leader, whether you have a role or not, whether you're on the steering committee, whether you're on the board, it doesn't matter. If you say, look, I'm a community leader, I want to do something in my community, you can start attending this Vermont Community Leadership Network training, workshops that they offer. All you need is really this common sense, love for your community, and a willingness to serve. And service is how you define it. Whether it's you show up and come to the public meetings and don't sign up for anything, or if it's you show up and you decide that I'm going to run for chair of the select board, whatever it is, right? And I think that's what it takes to be a community leader and to make a difference. And I think those are the things, those tenets of things that create a healthy Vermont. A healthy community, not necessarily just in Vermont, but in our communities.
Okay.
That's all I got. So thank you. Molly, thank you for inviting me on my third day in my new job.
Well, thank you for joining us on your third day of your new job, and I think that you are just gonna be a rock star there, just like you were in every other job I got to stand beside you with. So I'm excited for you to be in this role. And thanks for Jenna, because man, we did do it, and we're continuing to do it. And what is it? I always say, we get shit done. So Swanton does get shit done, and we are thriving. And I think it's a lot to do with a lot of the support that we got from the Vermont Council on Rural Development. They kind of led us along and guided us and gave us the tools, and we just took everything they taught us, and we did it, and we're continuing to do it, and we're continuing to thrive. We're not doing it as fast as we wanted to do it, but we're doing it. And I think that we can all kind of look back to that day in 2015 and now look where we are today, and who would have thought, right? Like, our community is starting to thrive. We have a great library, great rec, we have a great downtown, we have great community leaders, and a lot of the same people that were part of this process are still sitting in this room today, which is so amazing that we're all still doing it. And we're gonna continue to do it because we love our community. This is where we live, this is where we wanna see our families thrive, and we want it to be a healthier, happier place where we can, be great humans. So yeah, thank you. And Denise is open for questions.
Yeah, does anybody have any
If
questions?
anybody has any questions,
I'm open for questions.
or if you don't. Nick?
Yeah. You talked about rural transportation to like medical appointments. I work for Vermont Health Connect, so I know Medicaid gives rides to folks that don't have access to a car, Viva, like GMTA and whatnot. generally is free. With most people without access to a vehicle getting rides already, what other improvements do you want to see?
So if you don't have Medicaid, you don't have access to that transportation network, right? And so that's one of the big issues. The other thing is we're noticing that people that might need to get in, so you have to give a 24-hour notice for Medicaid to pick you up. And so that's a struggle for some people. So I ran the taxi voucher program at the hospital. So if somebody's discharging from the hospital or the ED and they don't have a ride back to Richford, we've implemented a process where we provide taxi vouchers for people to get a ride to wherever it is that they need to go. That's coming at the cost of our healthcare system to do that. I think different communities have done different things, and it's not just about people getting rides to, to medical appointments. It's also about youth getting rides to third spaces, like a community group room or something like that, or if there's like a youth thing that's happening, or even a sports event, they might not be able to get they need a ride to get there. I think that, some communities have implemented some really good volunteer programs. I know that's what they've done down in like Addison County. Cider and the Islands is a really great example of a rural community network. I mean, one of the other things they do is they'll pick seniors up and bring them to the farmers markets on Saturday morning to go shopping. So there's, different models out there. But I think one of the struggles is, if people living with cancer that need to get to Burlington and don't have transportation, it's really expensive to find. If you don't have Medicaid, you're not getting, the ride there. So I think Medicaid's a great resource, and the Medicaid ride program is a great resource. It's also, we also currently don't have any cab drivers that are taking Medicaid in our region. So if somebody discharges from the hospital at during the day, or maybe, no, I don't think we don't have any. So we're still using the voucher system for them because we can't get them a ride unless then you have to wait 24 hours. What's the person going to do in the hospital for 24 hours while they're waiting for a ride? So those are kind of some barriers. Amy Brewer is kind of convening a think tank locally, regionally. This is an issue that's affecting multiple communities throughout the state. But regionally, we're having a conversation about how to better improve transportation infrastructure in our region. And we have no solutions, just we have ideas, we have thoughts.
It was my understanding that AgeWell has a program with SSTA to provide that level of service to bring people to doctor's appointments in Burlington. Is that true?
They do. They need volunteers right now. Like there's a big call out right now for volunteers for some of that programming.
Okay, to drive.
Yeah, for volunteer drivers through AgeWell. Again, you have to qualify for the rides. You have to be a certain age or disabled, so not everybody qualifies to get the rides.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great conversation. It's definitely something that, we're seeing as a barrier to many things based on the work we're doing.
Will you continue the community visits?
Yes, we will. We just finished Franklin up. So that report is fresh and on our website. And they just went through a process of selecting our upcoming towns. The next one we're in is Lunenburg, which I've never been there. I know. The other program that you have been there that just came online, and we have a press release going out on Monday, is the Village Trust Initiative, which is a partnership between the Vermont Community Foundation, Vermont Council on Rural Development, and Preservation Trust, where they've selected small communities under 2,500 people. I don't know, how big is Swanton?
Oh, like 7,000.
7,000, yeah, you guys are like the city, yeah, okay. Smaller communities to help them identify a community building that needs repair, and to create a trust for that to help with it. And that was a funding that actually was secured by Senator Leahy before he left. So anyways, there's a lot of so we just selected our first cohort of 7 towns for the Village Trust Initiative. Very exciting. Yeah, so we've got, but the community visit program is absolutely continuing. Anything else? Thank you so much for having me, Molly. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thanks for
It's a
coming.
pleasure to be here. And just keep doing what you're doing. Oh, time. I should have said something. everything takes way longer than you think it's going to.
Always.
Always. And especially with the pandemic thrown in the middle of it, so you want to be farther, but it's like that continual process, right? So great work. Great
Just
work.
ask Gordon how long things take. Just ask. I mean, it's a straight
Read that
line.
on Facebook all the time, what's taking them so long?
It's a straight line.
I'm still waiting on a rec facility, so I'm taking longer than anybody in this room. And I'm on what, my 20th year as the chair?
Of the recreation department? Are you really 20 years?
Yeah, I was hoping to have it all done by 20, but we're getting there, right, Joel?
We're working it.
Well, thank you for having me, everyone.
I was so excited about having Denise speak, I skipped over our committee member elections and our proposed slate. So I, Betsy Fournier, will stay on as your chair for one more year.
Thank you.
Crystal Landman and I will be staying on as the vice chair.
Yes, okay, one more year. One more year.
One more, that's all I've got is one more year, just so you all know.
So we don't need to vote or anything, right?
I think you should.
You gotta cast a vote.
I think
have to
you-
cast one.
Well, Siobhan
Yes.
Cooper, communications officer, that was elected.
No, cause you're a committee member.
No, there was an election for the executive committee. You guys had a vote for it last year. the year
I don't
before.
know if did we vote last year?
Yeah.
You did,
Oh.
yeah.
My recollection, Siobhan, is that according to the bylaws, there are 4 officer positions, and Betsy wants to mention that the secretary's position is vacant. And if anyone is interested in that, it's a very important role, and we have someone who takes the minutes. So the secretary's position is to review the minutes and keep up with the things like, registering at the state, our nonprofit organization status. In terms of in terms of communications, being on the executive committee, there's no vote required, it's up to the chair. And that's because communications is not an officer, but there's no vote required for that.
But you were,
I believe you, but there was a vote,
well,
right?
I believe it was for, you were chairing the communications committee as a subcommittee of SEC.
Anyway,
So I guess that does make sense to have an additional secretary, that can review the minutes.
Neil has a
Oh,
question.
go ahead, Neil.
I think you should have a motion to have the secretary cast one vote for the existing officers that want to continue on.
we don't have it.
We don't have a secretary.
That would be
Problem,
good.
Neil.
I said the existing, I didn't say the phantoms.
You don't have an
Oh, well,
existing.
that's Joel.
Technically it is.
Joel is secretary treasurer, the existing secretary.
But we do have an open seat for a secretary.
But right now,
That would be Joel.
Should I make a motion to accept the slate?
yes. We have an attorney.
No.
So I guess you're stuck with us regardless.
You can make a motion to go ahead with the ones that want to be in there.
Should someone nominate a secretary?
We can nominate a secretary. We did have some interest in a secretary earlier this evening, if she is still interested. Kirsten? It's not, all you have to do is review the minutes.
So I'm not on the committee, so I can't.
So if someone wants to nominate Kirsten for
Kirsten.
okay.
I'll second that.
And Molly seconded. All right.
All in favor?
All in favor? Yay! So now we have a secretary. Yay!
Kirsten, can you cast that vote?
Now you can cast a vote.
Now she sits at the front.
What's
There,
that?
Joel, we got you now we have a secretary.
There you go.
Yeah. So can Kirsten now cast the vote now that she's our secretary?
Make a motion to pass the motion to accept the slate.
Yeah.
Second.
Molly's gonna second. All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any more discussion?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you all.
Carrie, your slate. Yay! All right, so we're moving on to that. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a brief, like 2-minute overview of what's happening with our great committee task forces. And then, afterwards we can have an opportunity to do a quick mingle, get a little snack and a drink, and then, we'll adjourn before that, of course. So Chris Dodge is here tonight. So thank you for coming. This is your first official meeting. So Chris is the principal of the Swanton schools. So welcome, Chris. And if you have something you want to share, with us about the schools, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I'd love to share a few quick things. So it's really a pleasure to be here and be with all of you and celebrate the work that you've done so far and be part of your work going forward. So my role really is to represent MVSD, and what you'll find in my presentation is that I'll mention a thing or two about everybody else, and then I'm really partial to Swanton, of course, and so you'll hear more about them. But I do want to acknowledge a couple of things. Our district, the Missisquoi Valley School District, is just finishing up a process to design what we call Portrait of a Learner, and you'll hear a lot more about that, but we've spent a lot of time talking about the skills that we want in our students when they graduate, the traits, the characteristics, and how we get there with our students. And a really large part of that work is thinking about how we engage with the community and how we really capitalize on the skills and the talents and the knowledge of the folks that we have in all of our MVSD communities. So you'll hear a lot more as we roll that work out to the greater communities. That's going to be forthcoming, but that really fits well with the work that's happening here. So I'm really excited about that. Swanton is a really busy place over the summer, the Swanton School. Anytime you might drop by, especially in the month of July, we'll have as many as 250 students in the building at one time. That really surprises people, but we run 3 summer programs. We have a special education program we run in the summer, a tutoring program, and then a program we call Crossroads, which is basically a summer camp program. So we're super busy in the summer, and we're excited about that. It's great to have all of our students back. We have about 640 students in preschool through 6th grade this year across both of our buildings. One of the things that I'm really excited about when we think about community engagement and working with folks in the Swanton community is that this year, more than half of the new hires for Swanton School live in Swanton, and that's a much higher percentage than we've experienced, at least in the last 3 years that I've been here. And we're talking a variety of folks from teaching staff. We have a new school counselor from Swanton. We have classroom teachers. We have support staff. But 10 new staff members at Swanton School are Swanton residents, and we're really excited about that. And part of that comes from MVU's efforts to connect their students and their graduates with opportunities in the community. Their in-service this year really focused on connecting their teachers and their students with businesses in the community, and Swanton School often hosts students as part of a work experience that will come and spend time with us when they're interested in being in the field of education. And we were really excited. We hired 2 brand new MVU graduates this year to work as support staff members at Swanton. And they just bring such a really cool energy to our school. One of them was a Swanton graduate as well. And that's just really exciting to see that whole educational process come full circle to a student that travels all the way up our educational system and then comes back to work with our students. So we're very, very excited about that. A couple of quick dates I wanted to toss out. Our open house at Swanton is September 26th at 6 p.m. We would love for any of you to come by and join us. We would love for our open house to not only include parents and caregivers and families, but anyone from the community who would like to drop by and see the classrooms and see the school and have a tour. So we'd really welcome any of you and anyone you'd like to bring with you to come by on September 26th to join us. October 1st, we have a Title I night at 6 o'clock that's coming up. That's an opportunity for the community to come in and think about ways that our school engages with the community, how we spend our federal grant dollars, and ways that we can work together to support our students. It's a really fun brainstorming session, so we would love to have anyone come in on October 1st at 6 o'clock and join us for that kind of a meeting as well. I'm going to be hosting some monthly opportunities for drop-in sessions with me this year. I'll get those dates out for the rest of the year coming up next month. I'm going to be calling them Coffee with Chris, just an opportunity to come in one morning a month and hang out and have conversation with me about the school and ways that we can work together. So I'm excited about that. We're also going to be starting a mentoring program at school this year. So anyone who's interested in being a mentor, we would love to have you come in and work with us to be a mentor to some of our students. We really would like to have any of you share your talents and your interests with our students at school, whether that's a one-time opportunity that you come in and speak to students about something that is of interest to you, or something on a more ongoing basis. So I really, really would love and encourage you to reach out to me, and we'll find a way to connect you with students at the school. That's such a valuable opportunity for our students. I just want to note that our construction at Franklin is complete, which is really exciting. So anyone who would like to check that out, you can give Joyce a call. Joyce Hakey is the principal there, and they have some beautiful new facilities pieces. I mentioned MVU really focusing on connecting their students with businesses in the community. Dan Palmer is the contact person there. If you're interested in that, he'd love to hear from you about ways to connect with any of you around that type of work. They have a beautiful new auditorium that's been renovated at MVU, so that's an exciting space as well for folks to use. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Highgate Elementary. Highgate did a lot of work with our district this summer, hosting literacy trainings for us. We have a district-wide brand new reading program that we're implementing for students. It's the first reading program in our district that's really going to bring some consistency to our reading instruction for all of our students, and Highgate played a key role in hosting some of that work for us this summer. So across our supervisory union, we're really excited about engaging with all of you. Drop by, call us, email us. We really want to see you and talk with you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Great stuff going on, and thank you for representing the whole MVSD. That was awesome. Is there anybody here from the Arts Council?
Yep.
Oh. And then you can just go into the library, because that's you're next.
Perfect. I've just got 2 quick things for the Arts Council. We're partnering with A Place for Grace and Feral to Forever Cat Rescues and doing a cat-themed art show. So all the art will have some sort of cat tie-in. And then we're also going to have cats at the art show for adoptions. That's going to be super awesome. That's on October 5th, and it's going to be at the library. And then also, we're really excited. And then also for the Arts Council, we're just working on our Halloween booth currently. We've got some cool ideas brewing for that, and we're really excited. And then for the library, I'm just going to give like a top 3 happening right now. We've got 8 book clubs going right now. 3 for youth, 2 for adult, and then 1 that I'm really, really excited about. That's a whole family read aloud book club. And that they're all launching, well, the 2 adult ones have been ongoing, but all of the youth ones and family one are launching next week. And then our band book event, we're really excited about that. We've got some legislators, we've got librarians from across the state, and locally coming in to talk about banned books and what that means and all different aspects of that. And then we also have a partnership with the Howard Center. They're going to be bringing one of their mobile units to the parking lot. The church is letting us use a piece of the back parking lot to do that, and we're really excited about that too. That's also going to start next week.
Awesome. Keep up the great work. Library.
If anybody didn't get a chance this summer to see the wonderful programming that Abby and her staff did, my hats off to Abby and Nicole. They picked up, when Notch decided to not do the summer camp program, that left a lot of families kind of scrambling to try to figure out what their kids were going to do for the summer. And these 2 ladies stepped in and did a fantastic job. My boys very much enjoyed working with you both. So thank you.
Thank you, ladies. All right. Rec Nicole, might as well keep her rolling.
That's me. I am so excited. We have 250 youth registered for athletics in between football, field hockey, soccer, and fall baseball. Our fields are busy and cranking things out. We had a very successful summer. For 6 weeks, I had over 60 kids every week engaged in our summer program, whether they were volunteering as counselors in training or there for programming. We had a lot of fun. Looking forward to some returning programs. We've got Safe Sitter coming up. Youth Dungeons and Dragons is coming back. We're partnering with MVSD to get kids additional programming on Fridays where they don't have programming, so that will be at the rec department. There will be Kids Kitchen, cooking classes for kids. All of those registrations are open on our website. Our work with the Vermont Youth Project Youth Council starts next week, so we'll be back at Missisquoi doing projects with them. They've got some cool and awesome clubs coming out of the pipeline, like Franklin County Youth Paranormal Investigators Group, DYI RC Car Club build, and they've also started a youth photography club. They've also asked for an after-school comedy club. They're going to be working on their improv. I'm their leader, so be careful. We last Friday had a really awesome first ever youth empowerment summit for all of the kids in Franklin County. We had 45 young people there. Building up their skills and engaging with each other as they get ready to head back to school. That was a lot of fun. We have been involved with the community yard sale this year. We had Iron Sights Patriotic Celebration in the park for July 3rd. Family Nights on the Green is something Abby and I did together. The community block party, which we did with these 2 lovely ladies over here. We were part of National Night Out. We had Corn Fest, which was an awesome and growing celebration that we hope everybody comes out and has some corny fun with the Corn Fest 5K or other types of things. We brought tennis to Marble Mill. We brought skateboarding to Marble Mill this summer. We had co-ed softball for adults, and we have been putting out kayaks and inflatable paddle boards like it's our job. So we've got all kinds of things going on. I did make a newsletter in case anybody's interested, and I'll leave them over on the table. We also have a 2025 focus survey. There is a digital link, but I printed copies out. Hopefully that you guys can just scribble down some answers before you leave me tonight and leave them in my folder. Because we want to know what you guys want to see for 2025. And then also, because we've been partnering with MVSD, I did bring some of those flyers for anybody. I didn't know Mr. Dodge was gonna be here, but MVU after school is also, or MVSD after school is doing some great things for our young learners and building more life skills, and they've just got a lot of really awesome programs up there as well as sports refuel and ride for any kid that is attending Swanton Rec programs or MVU programs. We're offering that connection for families in the afternoon that might not be able to get all the way home and all the way back to town again. So all of that information I'll leave over there, and I'm done.
Thank you. Alright, so Nick, Historical Society news.
The big thing is museum's open this summer. It's been open Saturdays and some Fridays, 11 to 3. So feel free to come by and look at the museum. Other than that, fundraising efforts are ongoing for the Roy Insurance Building. So I know Heather's been doing her Buy a Brick fundraiser, and there should be some other fundraising efforts ongoing in the future, and hopefully some program coming up soon. So that's the update.
Town of Swanton, do we have any updates? We have a few representatives in the room.
I'll do that. I'll do it. Okay, for the town, busy summer. The town resurfaced a number of roads this year that took $450,000 of resurfacing. The LVRT went out to bid in early August. Unfortunately, nobody bid on it. Now that's not, we still have plenty of time. We can rebid it. This is federal money involved, a state grant involved, so it has to, bidders have to be on the pre-qualified bid list of the state of Vermont. And when you look at the time of the year it has been and the amount of weather catastrophes we've had in the state, these contractors, if they're on that pre-qualified bid, are the first ones to get those emergency jobs. And so they're busy. So I think as winter comes on us, we'll rebid that. So stay tuned. Spending a lot of time working with engineers on the new stormwater permit rules. There's a couple of developments, one in particular that is taking quite a bit of time, but that's an ongoing process, not just for Swanton, but every place in the state. We are working, continuing on the development of the Southern Growth Center. There's been 2 lots of land out there that has been sold. One, the new state highway garage, the district garage, is well under construction, and adjacent to that site would be the state has purchased 40 acres to put a proposed new military readiness center, that's or the National Guard Armory. Which may be out in like 5 years. They got to wait for the funding for the building there. And the zoning bylaws are being revised to comply with the town plan and to modernize them. This has been an ongoing effort ever since the town plan was adopted and approved. Now they're working on doing the zoning revisions. The Planning Commission will have to have a public hearing, and then they will forward them to the select board, who will also have a public hearing, and then they will become adopted. There's going to be a few changes in them that hopefully will help ease the housing crisis. And one last final thing, everybody's familiar with the flags for the vets that we put in the park on Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and we've had many requests for additional flags. And just before this Memorial Day, the select board has approved the purchase of up to 50 more flags. So you will be seeing, we're going to advertise. I do have a waiting list going now, and they'll be contacted to see if they want to order the flags. My intention is sometime here by mid to late September, there'll be an ad going out for these flags to be purchased, and it will be they'll be in place for next Memorial Day. So stay tuned. It looks like the price per flag is now going to be $150. That includes the flag, the pole, And that's the one-time fee. But we'll get further more information out on that. That's what we got.
Super.
Did I miss anything, Joel? I don't think so. Okay.
Susie, for the Village of Swanton.
Okay, so since last time we were here, we enacted a Swanton Rec parking ban ordinance, which was successful, yes. Enacted a traveling vendor ordinance and permit. We partnered with the town to form a Promote Swanton committee, which I then suckered most of the people in this room into joining. We've started discussion with Habitat for Humanity for the possible sale of 6 South River Street, but that's still open for bid because we're not all in on the Habitat for Humanity. We sponsored a community development grant with the Abenaki Nation and Missisquoi to renovate their offices and their food shop. We hosted the first of many meetings for the Agency of Transportation to discuss the rehab or the replacement of the B6 bridge for 2029. We had a successful food drive for our village employees, which we then dispersed to the Catholic Church food shelf and the Abenaki food shelf. Electric, we've started discussions with Weeman Lamphere for the planning of villages offices and moving the electric department to 124 First Street. So once we get those plans in place, we'll start hosting our community meetings so that we can show the plans and discuss. Hydro's still working on their FERC relicense. Unit 1 and 2 are still down. Just a reminder that Unit 1 and 2 are over 100 years old, so we're just having some issues with spacers and magnetic center on one of them. The W. Scott Mueller internship was awarded to a local Swantonian, and next week Hydro's going to be down for maintenance. In our wastewater, we've got the Missisquoi River crossing, which is nearly completed. There's about 2 weeks left. We're going to be paving Foundry Street and Canada Street as soon as we get it tested after the crossing is complete. A gate is going to be installed on Webster Terrace, just so everybody knows. And the wastewater plant, the $8 million upgrade, started last week and is scheduled to continue until December 2025. And we're inventorying our water system. So for those who are Swanton Village water customers and did not complete the self-service, somebody will be knocking on your door next week. For PWD, the B6 bridge expansion joint repair was completed early. Dean and the guys managed the detour route and adjusted as necessary. There was one incident, but that was due to driver inattention, not due to the way that the detour was constructed. And just an announced that there's a job opening in PWD because Gary Bouchard is retiring after 47 years of service. Wow. So if you see Gary, please wish him good luck on his retirement and his next adventure. For the police department, we have one full-time opening still. We haven't filled it yet, and through our grant with Stone Garden, we were able to purchase a truck, a trailer, which will be used as a command post as necessary, an ATV, and some night vision goggles. And for the fire department, they've been very involved in community service, which is excellent. They're working with the town for a dry hydrant, and they're currently looking for grants for an exhaust system for their existing building. And then the Ladies Auxiliary is planning a haunted drive-through for Halloween, and they're looking for volunteers. So if anybody wants to volunteer, they should contact Ashley Chevalier. Village out.
Beautification in.
Well, we had an excellent year, and we've received many compliments this summer for the planters and the gardens, and it's all due to volunteers. We get great financial support from the village and the town and from donors, but the real work is getting your hands dirty, and we have volunteers to do that, not only the planting, but the maintenance and so on. So kudos to them. I'm here to announce, first of all, that Susie Kelleher is taking my place now as the coordinator of the beautification committee. Wow. So if you know Susie, she's a doer, and gets things done. So thank you, Susie, for stepping up. And I want to thank Ross Lavoie for building 3 bridge planters that were vandalized, thrown over the bridge, and we found one of them. But 3 had to be built, and we thank him for that. In 2024, we created a new garden at the town office. We had new and expanded window boxes at the village office, expanded Veterans Park plantings. It looks beautiful. We expanded the library garden. I think you've probably noticed that. We doubled the number of hanging baskets on Grand Avenue to 12. And we created a small garden at Merchants Row, the laundromat, which is a little 10 by 10 scrappy area that we beautified. Next year, we're looking to add some window boxes at Cody's Diner. We have permission to do that from the owner. We're working with Joel and VFW on a welcome mural between the VFW and the laundromat. We're putting a Eagle Scout candidate to work. That's a project for him to give us a good plan, and we'll be contributing to that. And we're part of our 7-year plan is to plant 10 new street side trees each year, and that'll happen again this year. So look for that. We always welcome volunteers, either on planting day or maintenance, which could be 1 or 2 hours a week. Fertilizing, weeding, deadheading. Watering is taken care of. This year we made a big leap to hire the watering out instead of having volunteers do it. It's just going to be, it's much more efficient, and we get it done. So, and our thoughts are go out to Ron and Sandy Kilburn. They were stalwart, or have been stalwart SCP promoters, founders, and they are very much in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
I just, Betsy, I think I can say this, but no, well, maybe I can't.
You want us to circle back? We're all curious.
Well, no, what I wanted to say is to watch the progress of the beautification committee evolve has just been, and I have really watched it firsthand, has been incredible. And this other thing I want to say is one of the committee members said to me that Hank leads with such grace. So I believe that.
Leadership, I think we should all stand up and celebrate all the people on that committee for what they've done.
Swanton is a more beautiful place because of your beautiful flowers, and you will continue to blossom, even with your new leadership. You'll have some big shoes to fill. Hank has created his own plans, his 5-year plans. He's put a lot of work into the beautification committee, and you can tell. I mean, people that don't live here are talking about our flowers. So, great job, Hank. I know you're still going to be a huge part of the beautification committee because you can't just walk away. So we thank you for beautifying our community.
Thank you for beginning it. Thank you for starting it. We didn't have anything until you and Ron and Sandy and Molly all got together at Sandy's house and came up with the committees that we needed in the community to make it more beautiful. So that's all you. So thank you so much.
It's a tough act to follow, but
I
here you
know,
go.
man. So for healthy communities and substance use, a little bit of sad news. Unfortunately, the state of Vermont has shifted funding priorities. And so after 27 years, caring communities will be closing doors this year. So I apologize. It's a little emotional for me. But I can say very proudly that people in this community have stepped up, and with Abby and Nicole and just amazing people, I know that the programs that we've begun are going to continue. Our mentor program will be moving over to, our current mentees will be moving over to the Spectrum mentor program, and our Teen Institute will be finding a new home. And because of work that folks in this community have done, I have no doubt that our youth will continue to do wonderful and amazing things. And I'll be part of that as a volunteer, because I'm not leaving. So,
All
sorry.
kinds of sad stuff tonight. How sad.
Positive though,
Yeah,
positive,
please.
sorry. We have purchased the licensing to show screenagers 1, 2, and 3. I see heads perk up a little bit. Those of you that have not seen Screenagers, it's an amazing, incredible documentary that follows a pediatrician's family through her child's first interaction with a cell phone and throughout teenage and young adult years. And it documents the interaction with substance misuse because of cell phone usage, and some mental health struggles because of screens. So we're really excited that we're going to be able to host these 3-part documentary series along with some community discussions. I'm meeting with Bill and Belinda from NCSS next week. And so the goal is to really get folks involved and engaged in a conversation about how we can best support our youth. As Denise said earlier, you know, our youth are really asking for a sense of belonging. And so the one thing that has always been prevalent with the 27 years of work with caring communities is that Swanton is always willing to step up. I've cornered Neil probably many times to have discussions about you know, creating healthy spaces for young people in this community and how we can take those protections to make our young people have a vibrant place to be. And so we're really excited to host these 3 events, and please be watching for the flyers, because I think this will be a really great discussion for Swanton.
And thank you for all your service, because I know that you kind of created those seeds in all these communities, and now you're just going to watch them blossom.
I am.
Like the beautification committee. But I think you have some great community partners that you've created along your 27 years that are going to continue your great work. So no worries. And I know you'll be right there kind of jabbing them along.
And I am excited that United Way is picking up the policy portion of things and some of the work that we will not be doing. So if you get if anybody is interested in helping to further this work, United Way is open for community partners to join the discussion on how to continue to create community spaces that are healthy for all.
One of the things, if I could just
Of course, Chris, go ahead.
quickly comment, one of the things that you prompted me to think about when you talked about the screening of the films is that we send out a school newsletter every Wednesday, an electronic newsletter. It goes to over 1,000 people now. And my philosophy about that newsletter is that it not only should be about the things that are happening at school, but it should be a resource for things that are beneficial to our students that are not necessarily happening within the school. So that and any other pieces that folks are involved with that I can support by putting links to that in the school newsletter could be emailed to me, and I would be glad to include those.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Siobhan, communications.
I have to point it at myself.
I was gonna say, you want me to turn the camera?
Right. Let's do this and then stand over there and tell me if I'm in frame. There we go. So just a couple things. So I started Yard of the Year, the contest for people gardening their yards. The plan was to originally do the winners tonight, but I thinned myself out too much and got a little delayed, so it's probably gonna be a couple weeks for that. But the other part of it is that the reason why I did it to begin with was to bring more attention to all the great work of the beautification committee and share things online and get volunteers, and I think it's helped and it's garnered some more volunteers over the time. And I would still really like to, and I'm saying it here because I'm asking for help, but I would still really like to do a garden party for the volunteers, set something up for them, that we, hey, are you available? Come together at this place, have little snacks and drinks and whatnot before it gets cold. And hopefully I'm thinking this will obviously be something that I have to go ask the village to use this space. I don't know if that qualifies, but down in the, right over there in the park where all their hard work is and whatnot, I think it'd be really great. So I'm just wondering if anybody like to help out and plan a few things, just to basically like a food list and a, thank you, maybe whatever we can come up with. So everybody has my email, I'm sure by now. So, and then to add to what Susie said, Swanton Village Auxiliary, I met with Ashley Chevalier yesterday. She wanted help with spreading the word about it and trying to get some volunteers. And that also brings me back to you, Chris, that she gave me some names of people, contacts at MVSD. And if you want to, we'll talk and work together and communicate about getting some, it's going to be really great from what I hear. But be warned, because they do say 13 plus, so it can be scary. But this year they're going to do a kid-friendly day on the Sunday. So it's not going to be just scary. It's going to probably be 11 to 2 during the day, and the scenes and handing out candy. So because they had requests for somebody to do that. I personally am. I'm going to take over the food donation for the Swanton Hub of Operation Happiness. That's through the United Way. They've only been getting like what they use for the money and the donations from Hannaford, and it really thins the boxes out. So, and they just didn't, like everybody, we're all strained and doing a million things, so they didn't have anybody to do it the last couple years. So I said I'd do so, and I got a few businesses to, I would like to, my idea, Chris, is have the school at the high school do which classroom gets the most, donations, and I've got Shaggy's Pizza and the Swanton House of Pizza is gonna donate a pizza party to the classroom that could get the most. And I don't know if that's something we do with the elementary school, because it's, they're so young, competition, maybe not, but something, we could do something and figure something out. And I just had one other question. Our SEP meeting minutes and YouTube videos, is there a way for there to be a link on the combined town and village website? Because now you have like the YouTube videos and the minutes just posted right on there. SEP doesn't have a website itself, so I don't know if, and websites cost money, as we know, so.
I think there's a tech class possibly.
So Diane adds the minutes from my Promote Swanton committee meetings right under village trustee. So it's probably something that could be done under the town, she does it under village trustee, and then it says Promote Swanton minutes. So that's something that you might be able to do for this.
You can look at it.
Yeah,
We'd have to find, because there's more than just, so there's more than one place we post minutes.
Yeah. Right.
The trustees only have one.
You only have one,
But
but
you'd have to find out where it would go, because there's select board planning, DRB.
you might have to add another, you might have to add another tab.
I think that there's a tech class that also does some web design development, so either we may be able to connect with them on creating a SEP website that could then be linked to the page, or perhaps some of Nicole's incredible young people who are very, very tech savvy may be interested in helping us to create a web page for SEP as well.
That's cool.
In the meantime, I'd be happy to put a tab on the library website if that helps at all.
Yeah, I can certainly.
And the rec
I can put on the rec too.
Great.
Alright, so we're always going over, but Darcy, economic development, do you have anything to share?
Just that we've all been working together to create a Promote Swanton project. To try to create something that promotes the entire downtown, the entire Swanton as a whole, with all of our opportunities that we have to offer. While we're on that, I noticed that the chamber is not listed on here. So I wanted to make a note that the Suzanne's been working on some Swan Pond upgrade stuff and research.
Weigh in for me.
The car show was extremely successful this year, and Halloween in the park is scheduled for October 26th, and Christmas in the park is November 30th.
Sorry, Chamber's usually on there.
It's okay, haven't been able to come, but I'm here now and I'll continue to attend our meetings. Just to bring you up to date on what is going on in the park, in the Swan Pond. The pond itself is 25 years old and the liner is completely deteriorated and he keeps pulling stuff up out of it, the Swan. So I have a pond committee and we are looking at not raising donations, doing fundraisers, that kind of thing. Looking where money can be obtained we're not going to the taxpayers. We don't want any taxpayers to have to be involved in any of this. But we have a new shed that will be made that I think Claire knows about that. Anyway, it's a beautiful design and it will look like the rail station. We're going to emulate that, but and it'll be a lot bigger. And I do think that the reason why there are so few people wanting to help with the swans is that shed is so darn little and it's kind of dangerous to be working in there. You know, the stones are slippery. It's only a 4-foot opening and you're having to work bent over at the waist. And I'm not that tall, a little wider, but not that tall. And, but it is hard to work in that little shed. So we would have a door on the side where we can actually stand up in the shed and be able to do everything we need to do. But we're making some headway with monies for the filter and the liner, so more to come on that. I have a list of volunteers that want to work on excavation, and I would be tapping into beautification for some assistance in plantings, just raking and planting grass and the kind of things that they like to eat. So, and I'm on the case, so thank you.
Madam Chair, I have an update from the Abenaki Nation.
Oh, yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. This is from Chief Brenda Gagne. We are serving over 800 people a month at the food shelf. We have been revitalizing our culture by having drum making classes, basket making classes, pounding ash workshops, and there's a ribbon skirt making workshop as well.
And a canoe workshop they just
and the canoe workshop that's coming out as well. And then we had a guest speaker come and speak to us about eugenics and the generational trauma that has caused the Abenaki Nation. And she states we're now getting things together for people without homes, such as propane grills, blankets, pots, and pans. and they're starting other initiatives that you can see on their website and their Facebook page.
All right, I think that's a wrap.
New business.
Oh, any new business? No.
Molly's shaking her head, yes. Oh,
No,
okay.
no.
Making sure.
Upcoming meeting dates, so our next meeting will be November 7th, and you'll look for agenda and meeting updates to come. Again, thank you all for coming. As you know, we share some amazing things that happen in our community, and we will continue to share every few months and rejoin and regroup and
And we would like to say our steering committee meetings are absolutely open to anyone.
Yeah.
So anyone that wants to attend, please do so. We welcome guests and would love further community input.
Absolutely. All right, meeting adjourned.